Well, hello, everyone. I hope everyone is here that's going to make it. My name is Lackey. I'm a game biologist with Nevada Department of Wildlife, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about our dogs that we use, the Karelian bear dogs that we use in bear management. If you have questions during this webinar, please direct them to the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. My coworker, Heather Reich, will be answering questions, and she'll be getting to as many of those as she can. If you have questions after the webinar, at the bottom of my screen that I'm showing you right now, you will see my email and Heather's email. Go ahead and snap a picture of that with your phone if you need to, or jot down my phone number. It's 775-720-6130. So give me a call later if you have questions that we don't get to, okay? All right, Karelian bear dogs in Nevada. There it is. Well, where are the Karelian bear dogs from? The Karelian bear dog is a breed that originates in Finland, right on the border of Finland and Russia. And if you see the map there on the star, that's where the province of Karelia is. Okay, the province of Carillion in Finland, right there on the border. That's where these dogs come from. They are originally bred in Finland and Russia to hunt brown bear. They're naturally assertive. They're very, very fearless. They're quick. They're agile. And all that is needed, of course, when you're hunting an animal like a big brown bear. So we're using them over here in the US. We're using those natural talents to help us manage black bears and grizzlies in certain parts of the US. Currently, there's Karelian bear dogs in North America being used in Nevada, Washington, Montana, Alberta, and Alaska. And there's been Karelians on contract in some of our national parks as well. And so their use is still kind of limited here to the west, but they are expanding. Now, there's several reasons why we really want to use Karelians in bear management. It helps, for the most part, helps keep bears on the landscape longer, right? We can help, they help us manage bears, black bears, and rather than lethal control, having to kill a bear, we can use the dogs, hopefully alter the behavior of those bears a little bit that are getting into trouble around urban areas, and prevent us from having to kill them and send them on their way, send them packing back out into the wild. And unfortunately, you don't get to see the dogs in person this year, but normally we have them out at these presentations. And the dogs really are a great way to connect the public to bear management. Now, the Karelian bear dog is not like a typical hounding breed. These dogs don't want to attack the game. They will nip them in the butt as they're running away, and you'll get to see a picture of that. But they hold it, they flush it, they keep it at bay. And in the case of black bears, they want to put those bears up a tree for the hunter. But in this case, it is us. Okay, we were one of the very first agencies to use Karelian bear dogs in the US. Not the first, but we were one of the first. We started using them in 2001. The very first dog that I got was Striker. His mom was a grizzly bear conflict dog up in Montana. All right, I'm going to introduce you now to all of our dogs. There's Heather and I with myself and Rooster, who is no longer with us, and Dazzle, and then her two dogs, Orca and Sputnik, who are getting up there in age, but they're still around. I'm going to introduce you though to the rest of them here too. Now, Striker, I mentioned, was my first dog. He died several years ago, back in 2014, but he sired Rooster, who was kind of my flagship dog for many, many years. Rooster was around. He was responsible for going out and helping bears, probably close to 500 or 600 bear releases over his years. There's a picture of him there as a puppy, and then there's a picture of him working some bears. Got right up close with them, getting right in their face and giving them a hard time. Now, I bred rooster numerous times to different females. A couple of those females were with the Wind River Bear Institute out of Montana. And some of Rooster's offspring have been placed in various places in the US and in Canada, as well as Japan. He's actually got 2 offspring. They're in Japan working on Asiatic black bear conflicts. So his genes are all over the place. Now, out of one of those breedings with Rooster and a female from Montana, oh, I got Dazzle. Now, I'll back up. Sputnik is a son of Rooster. This is one of Heather's dogs. Him and his sister Orca both came out of Rooster back in 2008. And they're still with us, as I said. Kids love them, bears hate them. There's Dazzle. Dazzle is another daughter of Rooster. She is still with us. I still have her out working bears to this day. And just like that picture shows with her and the little bear cub, they don't want to hurt the bears. They just like chasing them. Gimbal. Now, the next four dogs that I'm going to show you, the next 3 are Heather's, and they all came out of Ontario, Canada, a different breeder. This is Gimbal. He's now actually an adult, 3 years old, or almost 3 years old, 2.5 years old. Loves working bears. And his sister, Condi, there's her as a puppy, but she's another great bear dog now. Lumi, and that's one of their brothers from a different litter, but the same breeder. Now, Lumi is a white color phase Karelian. Most are black and white or brown and white. Lumi is all white, but he is a bear dog nonetheless, and he gets right there in the mix of it with the rest of them and loves chasing and nipping at bears. And then Banjo. Banjo is my dog. He's now 3.5. And he is just an awesome dog. He loves biting bears in the butt. In that bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a picture of Rooster, Dazzle, and Banjo. Banjo was a puppy. All right, now this is I mentioned that they help us keep bears out of trouble. Well, I'm going to show you a couple video clips here, and then I'll talk about some of the other things that the dogs do for us. But this is a real typical scenario where we're releasing a bear that we have captured, a bear mixed up with conflict, human-bear conflict. Usually that means getting into somebody's garbage that they left out, unfortunately, or going into backyards and getting into fruit trees and things like that. And then we'll have the dogs spread out on both sides of the trap. We open the door to that trap, the bear comes running out, and then we let the dogs chase him. A lot of agencies, almost all agencies here in the US, keep their dogs on leash, and they run with the dogs on leash after the bears. We don't do that, never have. We use the natural abilities of those dogs we work them off leash, and as soon as we can, we let the dogs go. And you'll see that here in this next couple videos of a bear coming out of the trap, the dogs right on him, chasing him up a tree. And if you thought you could outrun a bear, think again. How do you like that, huh? I mean, bears can climb trees too, just like Velcro. And see, when the bear comes down, we'll do it again and again. This bear stayed up in that tree for quite a while, so we let him be. We took off and left the camera there. The bear comes down out of the tree and goes on his merry way. There he goes. Here's another one for you. Now, watch what Rooster does here. He almost climbs this tree looking for the bear. Oh, look at that. Now we let the bear come down out of the tree, put the dogs right back on him because he came down while we were there. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, Ruth.
Roos got just a piece of his hide, didn't he? I'll show you one more time in slow motion. I love this video. There we go. Okay. Once in a while, we put cameras on the dogs, and that's what this is. This is, I believe this is Orca. She's chasing a bear that you'll get to see here in a second. There's a photographer. There's the bear up in the rocks. Now, watch how close this dog gets to the bear. If you ever had a fly buzzing around your face, just bugging the heck out of you, and you take a swat at it, woof, like that. Well, that right now, that dog is only a couple feet away from the bear, just barking like crazy. Pretty soon here, you'll see Sputnik come in on the left-hand side. And with between both dogs harassing this bear just can't handle it, and it takes off running. That dog's not afraid at all either. Now, people ask us sometimes if the dogs ever get hurt. Not seriously. Never had a dog seriously hurt. This is what they're bred to do. And they love doing it. See that bear coming down out of the tree, and the dogs continue to chase it. Okay. Well, other than human bear conflict resolution, some of the other things that we use these dogs for, physical capture for research. The guy sitting next to me there, that's clear back in 1999. That's John Beckman. He was with the Wildlife Conservation Society. And we've done a ton of research. Heather and I are continuing that research to these days. But when we need to go out and capture a bear, we can put the dogs on a bear, they can put it up a tree, and then we were able to put a dart in it, capture it, and put a collar on it, or whatever else we need to do. Home invasions. Look at this house. Black bears are known for this. This is up in Incline Village. 2 bears broke into this house. The house was vacant. They were actually living in this house for several weeks. $80,000 worth of damage to this house. They were sleeping on the beds, sleeping on the couches, as you can see, pooping and peeing all over the house. It was terrible. But when we get these calls, sometimes the bears are still inside when we get there. So we'll go in with the dogs, and they can help us corner that bear. We can get a dart in it, or they can harass the bear and get it out of the house, either way. Urban dens. Okay, we get a lot of bears up in Tahoe especially that try to den underneath people's homes, den for the winter. So we'll go under the house with the dogs and harass it and get it out of there, and then make the people seal up the crawl space so the bear can't get back in there. You may think it's kind of a nice place for a bear to be during the winter, but in the process of going underneath there and making their little nest, their little den, they tend to tear a lot of insulation out, and they can break water pipes and tear down electrical wires and things like that. So it's not a good place for bears to be. We'll get calls in the middle of the day in Carson City, Reno, Tahoe, it doesn't matter, about bears roaming around where there's a lot of people. And of course, that's a situation that we don't want to see happen. So if we need to, we'll bring the dogs in, and like that picture in the bottom right-hand corner, that was in Carson City. The dogs chased that bear, got it to go in the garage there, and we were able to get a dart in it there and tranquilize it. Winter den visits. Okay, when we go into our winter bear dens to do research, either adjust collars or count cubs, whatever it happens to be. A lot of times those dens are covered in several feet of snow, and they're kind of hard to find. So the dogs have great noses, and they will help us locate those dens if need be. That's Dazzle with the 2 cubs there in the center. Dazzle took a helicopter ride with us that year. My Carillions have been in helicopters and snowmobiles and even ski lifts, chairlifts, if any of you ski, and gondolas. So they're very agile. And that top right-hand picture, that's just looking down into a hollow log, and there was a mom and a baby bear down in there. And then educational ambassadors. Like I said, you guys, unfortunately, you're not going to get to see these dogs this go around this year, but we love having them at schools, bringing them out to presentations. Again, it's a great way to connect people with our bear management. Very, very popular. More popular than Heather and I, for sure. Okay, I've got one last release for you. This is in Carson City. 2 or 3 dogs on this release. Boom, how you like that? On cue, the dog turned the camera around for us. Okay. That is about it for this presentation. I'm not sure if I'm gonna turn off my screen share. We'll see if Heather's answering questions or if she needs any help. Wow, 84 questions. 222 of you. That is awesome. I'm glad to see so many people tuning into this.
Oh, Carl, looks like you accidentally went on mute.
Oh, got it.
Perfect, thank you.
Is she handling most of these or what?
Looks like we have some that we haven't gotten to. There's lots of people that are curious how fast the dogs can run. Do you know how fast they can go?
Well, and I can just talk and everybody still hears me, correct?
Yep.
The bears run at about 35 miles an hour maximum, which is very, very fast. And as you can see, the dogs keep up with them and even get ahead of them. So in short bursts of speed, yes, the dogs can hit 35 miles an hour or better. Pretty fast, a lot faster than me.
And we have a couple people asking about getting one of these dogs. Would you say that's a good idea to have one as a pet?
No, you really need to have a specific use. They're a working dog. They're not a backyard dog to sit in a backyard or a kennel. They're definitely not an apartment dog. They need to work. They need to run every single day. So if you've got a use, you need to live in bear habitat and forest, and you've got a decent sized yard and you've got a lot of time to spend with them, they make great dogs. They're great, great family dogs if you're the right family for the dog.
Awesome. And then quite a few questions about whether the dogs or the bears get hurt during this process.
No, the dogs, as I said, the dogs don't like to attack the bear. They don't want to injure it. They love just nip it on the butt and sending it on its way. And we've never had a dog seriously injured doing this. This is what the dogs are bred to do. They're very, very agile, very, very quick. And that dog, the bear can take a swat at them and the dogs don't get hurt. And I saw one question in there about, do the dogs hurt any other wild animal? No, they're not out there to kill things. They love chasing things and hunting.
And who trains the dogs?
We train our own dogs. We train them basically on the job. So when they're puppies, we expose them to tranquilized bears and or dead bears. Let's say a bear gets hit by a car. We'll expose them to that. And then as they age, we expose them to a little bit more each and every time until they get to the point where they're very comfortable around bears. And then we'll release a bear and keep the dogs on leash, let the older dogs chase the bear, keep the younger ones back. And eventually they get to the point where they just want to go and be with the other dogs and have all that fun.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. It is 12:20. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Carl?
No, just thank you everybody for coming, and you have my phone number and email, and Heather's if you want to contact us later, feel free.
All right. Thanks, everybody.